Welcome to Voice Thoughts Talk Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Danette Mahabeer-Turner, and today we have an amazing episode lined up for you. But before we get into that, allow me the opportunity to highlight our sponsors of this episode. Our title sponsor, Exit Realty Key Group. Thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate in Western Kentucky? Exit Realty team is known for professionalism, heart, and getting results. They are passionate about their community and helping clients make confident moves in every season of life. Follow them on Facebook at Exit Realty Key Group to see listings, tips, and local highlights. Or episode sponsor, Above Theory Media, a platform focused on growth, leadership, mindset, and meaningful conversations that challenge the way people think. From book publishing and branding to audiobooks, merchandise, and media development, Above Theory Media helps turn ideas into impact. For more details, visit their website, www.abovetheorymedia.com. Remember, you can watch Voice Thoughts Talk Show and Podcast on YouTube, listen on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and be sure to join our Facebook group at Voice Thoughts Talk Show and Podcast. Today's episode is one many people may not realize they are living through every single day. The invisible barriers people place on themselves through fear, comfort, identity, comparison, and social conditioning. Our topic today is self-imposed limitations. Joining us is author Reginald Calloway, whose book challenges readers to examine the internal ceilings that keep them from reaching their full potential. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, so we're going to get into some things. The topic today, self-imposed limitations, right? So What inspired you to write about self-imposed limitations?
It was observations of patterns, seeing people settle at relative success, but not because they didn't have the talent to keep going. They would just stop at relative success. And I always wonder what that is. And as I went through life, I saw it all the time. So I'm good at recognizing patterns. And as I kept seeing it, I realized that people were comparing relative success instead of seeking full potential growth. You know what I mean? Like to see where can I take this? Where can I go with this? Instead, it's an invisible ladder that you stand and see like who's next. Right above him.
I'm okay.
I'm good right here.
Right
you know
here.
what I mean? And a lot of those limitations are subconscious, like you don't know they're there. The thing about those self-imposed limits is they get put on early normally and they feel normal.
In your own words, what exactly are self-imposed limitations? We talk about it, but how would you define that?
Self-imposed limitations are usually deal with comfort, you know what I mean? And they are, the reason they're so hard to define because it really comes down to they're natural because it's just survival. And so most people, just your survival need is to get stable and make sure you survive. So growth requires risk. Expansion requires risk, which is unnatural to, you know what I mean, your natural being, your instinct to survive, you know what I mean? So you have to be willing to do that risk. But those limits come because we get comfortable and then we accept the identity that a lot of times other people give us, including family.
Wow. And you mentioned earlier, which is one of my questions, is that you talk about invisible ladder, right? And it's also in the book, which we have right here, One Step Above. Yes, and so congratulations on the publication of that. But what does that represent in society today when you talk about invisible ladder?
It's a really good question. It's the invisible ladder is measurement. So the ladder is how you measure. You know, instead of seeing a wide open horizon, you look for the ladder. So children learn to look like, who am I ahead of? Not where can I go? how far can I be? Who can I be? They scan the room to see, well, who is the lowest? Let me make sure I'm not lower than them. And that's where the letter starts. It doesn't start as a belief. It starts instinctually as a reference point. And then those limitations start off like for survival. They're there for survival. The best example I can give of it is if you got a child and it's trying to climb a tree. Now you need the child to know it can climb all the way to the top, but it doesn't know that if it falls, he can bust his head or she can bust her head. So you have to put that limit on them. The thing about it, that we take what was once survivals and we end up taking them into rooms that we self-consciously don't even know that the ceiling is there. And, that comes with blaming, not looking into self, seeking external validation instead of internal growth.
Man, we got a lot to talk about today. I'm telling you, whoever's going to see this episode, it's a wealth of information that's going to make you double check yourself. And I want to say that because it's an honor to have you here on the show.
Thank you.
We've had conversations on the phone and we both just get so excited, I have so many great questions for you, and I know you're going to, help to inform and to educate, our listeners or audience as well. And so I would commend that you guys get this book as well. I cannot wait for y'all to read this book and for us to delve deeper into self-imposed limitations that's going to help you. Yeah. But let's get right back to it because I'm super excited. So why do you think so many people measure success by comparison instead of personal growth?
It's easier to talk instead of listen. You know what I mean? It's easier to teach instead of learn. So it comes natural. It's really hard to listen. So comfort, you know what I mean? Comfort is a routine that most people strive for. I just want to be comfortable, you know what I mean? And that in itself, just that statement is a ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Because if comfortable is right here, then your growth probably starts somewhere above that. I always say growth starts right when confidence ends. And it's being able to be a beginner. Nobody wants to be a beginner. You smart and you know what you know, but if you go into which you are always into new adventures. And when you go into a new venture, you have to sit into a room where you don't know, you're confused, you don't have the last say. And sometimes if you taking that identity with you of knowing or being the one that smart, being a beginner again will seem, subconsciously you'll push against it.
Man, do you believe society unintentionally teaches people to stay comfortable instead of thriving higher?
Like I say, I think it's natural, just survival. You know what I mean? So we're a human species, and at the root of us is, to reproduce and survive. You know what I mean? So at the root of that, a guy made a good quote. He said that it's like the caveman, and you're in the cave, and the caveman say, well, I want to go over there and see what's across that mountain. But everybody in the cave was like, we already got enough problems here. Why would we go out there? Because that's growth. That's where you go, but it's risk.
It is
involved in that. So it's, the greater the risk, the greater the reward in this. So they will try to oppose those ceilings, not meaning to. They think they're trying to keep you safe.
Right.
I don't want you to grow because I don't want you to hurt yourself. It's like letting the little boy, I want to see you get to the top, but I don't want to see you hurt yourself. You know what I mean? And it's balancing that risk with that reward.
And so one of the points that you made that really stood out to me was how people avoid rooms. They may no longer feel like they're the smart one or the successful one. And why do you think identity plays such a major role in limitations?
One of the biggest points that made me know I was going to write this book, it was and I won't say their name, it was an entertainer. And he was doing one of my favorite entertainers. And during the prime of his career, he was on a trajectory with a couple more other entertainers, and they was going from, just being entertainers to almost being more moguls. And in this interview, but he never did it. He never made that turn. And in this interview, during the interview, asked him why you never made that turn. He was like, I just want to be normal, which sounded good, right? I'm watching the interview. I said, okay, everybody. But when I thought about it, he had been famous since he was like 16 years old. He's never been normal. So the interview goes on, and this is a smart guy. The interview goes on, and at the end of the interview, the people he was supposed to make the curve with were people that was on his level or above, right? But he had a group that he came out with, but the group was dependent on him. So if they was to put out another album, it wouldn't be nothing unless his name was on it. And so this is at the end of the interview, and the interviewer asks him, so this group wants to make another album. What do you say to that? And he said, no, I got to get mine. And I said, whoa. He turned down $100 million just to say he can't give up 6. So he didn't see the ceiling. So the ceiling for him was, if he get in this other room, he don't get the last say so. He's not the biggest boss. Sometimes you can be the biggest thing in your business, but that's not the best thing. You know what I mean? Because your business can only grow as far as you can grow.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you intentionally avoid growth, or most people will take 100% of nothing rather than 20% of something major. You know what I mean? And that comes from that ceiling of, I did this by myself. See, so if he makes that growth, he can't say, I did this by myself. I'm the best entertainer in this room, because he's not. You know what I mean? But in the other room, he is. And so he chose to go there because they're one step below him. And I was like, so it had nothing, because this guy was so intelligent, and that's why I didn't say his name. I'm a really big fan. And I was like, oh, it has nothing to do with intelligence. Some of the smartest people you know are trapped under these ceilings, because most of the time they're self-conscious.
And it's, you know, I think it's, as you said, invisible. It's very invisible. And so how much of self-imposed limitations come from fear of judgment, from family, friends, or society?
Oh, man. Family, you can get on, you know what I mean? It's a whole chapter in the book about, because families are the hardest ceilings to break, because those ceilings come disguised as love. They come disguised as tradition. You know what I mean? And how do you break that? How do you tell somebody that tradition is, especially if it's your mom, your dad, your uncle, somebody close? So what normally happens, if someone's that close to you, that put those ceilings on you, you will operate under those ceilings when you're around them. So what you'll do, you just stop talking about growth because it upsets them. You stop asking questions to be curious, because those questions threaten their ceilings. You know what I mean? And so we will subconsciously, and once you go, to me, and I got this in the book, once you go and you be up under those ceilings just to make peace, just to, I don't want to, you know what I mean, disturb, rock the boat, you forget who you were becoming, because you became small. You know what I mean? You shrunk to fit that crowd. And it's hard. So if you're somebody that lost somebody or used to losing somebody, to pick growth over losing somebody again, that would be a very, very hard choice. And I can understand.
And that's where the fear comes in as well. Do you do social media and modern culture make comparison-based success even worse?
Yeah, well, you know, social media, I don't want to say it's bad, because you can find a lot of good on there, but social media, most people post when it's going good. Don't nobody post when it's I missed this light bill and my light's off. Look at my post with the camera. You don't see those posts. You see all the posts that's going good. So what that does is it will create an invisible barrier that you think, well, I can't do that. Their life is so good. Look how bad my life is. And you don't know everybody has problems. Oprah has problems. Jay-Z, Beyonce. Problems are a part of life. It's just the more you grow, the bigger the problems are, and the more equipped you are
to handle them.
Handle those problems.
Why do you think some people stop growing once they become comfortable enough? Why?
Relative success. Because I came up with this phrase, the audacity to dream. The audacity. I asked this young man the other day, and I asked him, I said, if everything went your way, everything went your way the next 12 months, where will you be? But the concept of everything going his way, he didn't have the audacity
to
dream that, to even think that concept. And I remember being him. I remember not having the audacity to even dream I can write a book. Just the thought, because you can't be nowhere that you can't produce a thought first, because everything you do is thought first. So if you can't see it, you can't achieve it. And so you don't even have the audacity, because those limits been put on since childhood. So if you, the troublemaker, what they call the black sheep of the family, success feels temporary. You know what I mean? And that's what you think about. Like, if it's going good, you be like, something's gonna go bad. And the whole family, like, he's doing good, but you know him, something will go wrong. You know what I mean? Or if you the smart one in the family, it's hard to get in rooms where you're not smart no more, because that identity protects you have an emotional connection to that identity, because everybody wants some form of appreciation. Even the hardest criminals think they're the victims. If you talk to them, it's a great book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think all your readers should read it if you ever get a chance. But in that book, he explains how even the hardest criminals are the victims. When you talk to them, they're like, for me, everybody feels like, you know what I mean? Everybody wants appreciation. And that's how my growth started. So this book exists, and now you put me back on track. But this book exists because Jennifer, my fiance, my soulmate, had the capacity to hold it. You know what I mean? So I would just tell her, because I didn't write it at first. I would just be like, did you know this? Did you know this? Oh, you did this because of this. And I can see patterns, and she would just, say, you need to write the book. You need to write the book. I'd be like, I don't write books. Man, come on. I'm not going to write a book. I've never, it wasn't one of my goals. I was like, I'm not writing a book. And for years and years and years, and she taught that. So it says that sometimes the most important decision you'll make is the person you'll be with for the rest of your life. You know this, you know what I mean? But sometimes that person you with helps you break through those ceilings, because they're very hard to break by yourself.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. You mentioned that growth often requires becoming a beginner again. Why are so many people afraid of starting over?
Oh, man. Growth requires you being confused again. It's like going into the school in 9th grade and not knowing. But say you this big professor, or you don't made it and you own the body shop, and now you got to go back to school because you want to do real estate. But now you at the bottom again, but you coming from where you was an expert. And not knowing is the blessing. And you know what I mean? And as a line I steal from people, it's been circulating for years, but nothing happens to you. Everything happens for you. And it's the perception that you see it that way, but we don't know that. So when it happened to us, we think, oh, we curse, you know what I mean? Because you see it happening to you, and somebody looks like it's just smooth sailing for them, you know what I mean? Like, I had trouble in school, and for some people, school was no problem. They just rolled through it, and they got bored with it. They never kept practicing because they became one step above. So usually I talk about this in the book. Reading is one of the biggest things. So where I'm from, you're reading on the 7th, 8th grade level. That's reading compared to people might be in learning disability or something. So you get so used to being that one step above, you never keep reading. You never keep going. One of the smartest people in my family, she was one of the smartest people, but compared to us, she was so high that she never went to college. She never went to get a master's. She never went to get a doctor's, because she was around us, and it already looked like she had already made it. So it always depends on the environment. Environment is so big. I didn't mean to get off topic.
No, I appreciate you delving into that, because, I come from a family where I'm just addicted to success. And I never put ceilings on what I could accomplish, But as you mentioned, to other people in my own family, I'm from a third world country, applying for a US visa, for example, was a risk, because I knew I am paying X amount of dollars that took me months to save that money, and it's non-refundable and it's not guaranteed I'm gonna get that visa. But I was willing to take that risk. A risk that generations after generations in my own family wouldn't even go try, because they don't want to lose the money. They don't want to be denied, and they don't want to lose the money. And I've taken that risk and lost the money and took that risk again. You hear me?
Because it's not a loss, it's a lesson for you.
But also it's perseverance, because I could have said, well, I'm not going back because I'm going to get denied again, or I could, and I wouldn't lose that money again. But I was like, well, what are the odds? I was like, okay, I'm going to go again, because it's likely too, just like equally unlikely that I could get that visa, and I came to America, but like I keep thriving and keep going after other things. Okay, I came to America. That. I have a first degree in hospitality, entertainment, and tourism management. I could have been like, okay,
that's good.
I have a degree. Yeah. Like in my family, my mom has 5 kids. I got a degree. I'm above. I want above, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
It's that urging me to like, I can be more than I am.
Oh God.
But to others, it's like, you're doing too much. They might not say that, but I feel it. You're doing too much. So I came to America, and guess what I did? A second degree in a different major, business management and leadership.
Doing all that for.
And it's like, well, what you
how much do you want?
Exactly. And so I kind of feel like the black sheep because of those kind of things, because I'm on a different path, and I'm just hungry for more, and that's who I am. And it's not to compare with, and I can see everybody being like, oh, well, maybe you're just trying to be better than us. Well, I'm just trying to be a better version of myself than I was yesterday. Preach. That's all it is. But again, that's so you get into certain rooms, and it could be good because you could be the smart one, but then you get in certain rooms and you are the smart one. It's like, you're not one of us, so it's
your growth automatically tells the group that there was more room to grow. It automatically, and that's a threat to them. What it does, it makes them question their stagnation. And instead of questioning their stagnation, it's way more easier to neutralize you. I don't want to question myself. Growth is honesty with self. It's looking in the mirror, stripping off the makeup, all the clothes, and saying, I still love me. You know what I mean? Because we can get dolled up and we can get dressed up, and you love that version, but do you love, what I mean? Is it inner? Because it's inner growth, and we're always looking for external validation, and you don't look for that. So even when they say, are you doing, because you don't need because you have the internal growth, and that's what this book is trying to see. And like I said, I'm no professor or nothing, and this book can kind of get deep. I didn't go to school for psychology or nothing like that, but I want people to see the patterns that they might not have seen, because I think they're invisible, subconscious, however you want to phrase that.
I think we all can take a page out of that book, no pun intended for that. But so let's look at what practical steps can someone take to break self-imposed limitations.
Get in rooms that you don't feel comfortable in. Sit in rooms, go for things. If you're not losing, you ain't trying hard enough. Like you should, if your dreams don't scare you, they ain't big enough. You should be trying everything. That way you get used to no's. See, I just applied for $1 million loan. It don't mean I'm going to get it, but I'm okay with the no's. Once you get okay, it's rejection for most people. It's like, I don't want to go up there. What if they tell me no? And it'd be like, it's like when we young and we dating. If you can't get that no for a male, if you can't get past no, you might not ever get married. You know what I mean? So, because you got to get used to the, you know what I mean? And so it's putting ourselves in rooms that we're not yet ready for, because to learn and being okay with being a beginner. Being okay with not learning, not knowing everything, because you can learn and enjoying the process of learning, not comparing it. Am I better than somebody else, but just comparing it to your external growth, not external validation.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you believe some people subconsciously shrink themselves to maintain or acceptance or belong?
Yeah. And we talked about this, touched on it earlier. It's if you've lost people, if you're somebody that lost a lot, your growth says, well, if you keep growing, you're gonna lose this person too. It's a hard choice. So people that's come from loss, it's a really hard choice to not shrink, make yourself smaller in environments that you know you're larger than, and especially when it comes to family. You know what I mean? So maybe your parents aren't financially literate. So you don't want to talk about that around them, but them your parents. So you just, hey, when my mom come, we just go, you know what I mean? We just let her do, you know what I mean? Because you try to give people grace. And I think giving grace is the number one opportunity for you to grow because it costs nothing. It's appreciation, not flattery. Flattery is fake. But appreciation is real, and you can always find something positive about somebody. So that's what I do. And Jennifer taught me that. Like, she gave me grace when I didn't know how to write. She had grace. When I didn't know how to structure my thoughts, she had grace. Like, she let me work through it. So giving grace is the easiest thing you can do, and I think it's the most conductive thing to grow.
Wow. And so what would you say to someone who feels stuck but doesn't know where to begin?
Look at your ceilings. Be honest. This is the stripped down version. This is getting in the mirror and loving yourself. Not waiting for somebody to say you're cute. Not waiting for somebody to say you're handsome. But getting in the mirror and say, okay, I got these flaws, but I love myself. I'm going to work on it. Being a beginner again. So I myself, just to give a little bit about me, is we own a child care center called Small Steps of Faith. We've been running for 15 years, you know, and I call it Dream a New Dream. So I remember, man, I couldn't wait to just own a business and own a building. But that was how my dream. I didn't even have the audacity to keep dreaming. I was like, if I get here, man, I'm
okay.
I be set. I'm so hard against the people that I came up with. I'm one step above them. And I got there, and then I realized it's never the destination. It's always the journey. So I needed another journey because the destination is never what you think it is. You know, you'd be like, if I get here, life is just, and it's never that. I thought the founders of the country had it right. It's the pursuit of happiness. Because it's always moving. It seems like it's right here when you're in your 30s, and when you're in your 40s, it's a whole happiness is a whole different place. So it's being honest with yourself. You know what I mean? Honesty, that's where growth starts from. You know, nobody should be able to tell you your flaws. You should know every one of them. So when they come, you can tell them that they ain't talking about nothing, because you already know where you good at and where you weak at. And that's not a flaw. That's paying attention. That's construct to growth.
Where can people find your book and also connect with you? Because I'm sure they want to connect with the wealth of information here.
Yes. So you can go to AboveTheoryMedia.com. We also, Above Theory Media is my publishing company. So I own that publishing company, and One Step Above is the first book that I published. But we're looking for publishers. We're looking for writers. Maybe your thoughts are in your head and you don't know how to get them out. We got editors that can get those thoughts out your head, help you write that book and keep it in your own voice. And I just think, you know, a lot of people have that self-doubt that we talked about earlier. They might have an idea and be like, nah, not me. And it might be the greatest idea that needs to be said, but they just be like, nah. You know what I mean? It's self-doubt. You can even feel, you know what I mean? But above, get it. AboveTheoryMedia.com. You can order the book. You can also order an audio on that website. We also have T-shirts, hats, things of that nature for One Step Above. And ASC Real Estate Solution, we also own a real estate investment company based in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And
and we'll be doing some great things. We don't want to let the cat out the bag, but I appreciate you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing a wealth of knowledge with our audience. And yes, you guys need to go ahead and get a copy of that book. And I have a copy myself. So where's my copy? Let's get it.
A signed copy for you, and it has the bookmarks.
Look at that.
Above Theory Media.
Thank you.
Like I say, it's a reference book. So I kind of look at it as a book to not put down because, like I say, the limitation we place, I almost think natural, just survival. So you always have to remind yourself, am I selling? Can I do more?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And for me, I don't want to get religious, you know what I mean? But for me, it's like, how far can I go? It's like, how far will God let me go? Like, can I go more? And all things are possible with God. So
that's not.
And he said, all, not some.
Not some. That's what I keep telling people. But yes, it's so good to have you. And we'll catch up again soon. Thank you to our sponsors. Our title sponsor, Exit Realty Key Group. Thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate in Western Kentucky? Their team is known for professionalism, heart, and getting results. Exit Realty Key Group is passionate about their community and helping clients make confident moves in every season of life. Follow them on Facebook at Exit Realty Key Group to see listings, tips, and local highlights. Our episode sponsor, Above Theory Media, a platform focused on growth, leadership, mindset, and meaningful conversations that challenge the way people think. From book publishing and branding to audiobooks, merchandise, and media development, Above Theory Media helps turn ideas into impact. For more details, visit their website, www.abovetheorymedia.com. Remember, you can watch Voice Thoughts Talk Show and podcast on YouTube, listen on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. And be sure to join our Facebook group. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Voice Thoughts Talk Show and Podcast. I've been your host, Danette Mahabeer-Turner, and I'll see you on the next episode. God bless.